All right, we've been listening there to the opening statements of the ranking Republican on the House Judiciary Committee there, Doug Collins, and also the chair of the US House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, on the second round of the public impeachment hearings in Washington, D.C. this Wednesday, public impeachment hearings into President Donald Trump. The House Judiciary Committee holding its first impeachment hearing a day after the congressional Democrats released a 300-page report in which they described how President Donald Trump abused the power of his office for personal and political gain. Now, the impeachment inquiry, as we're seeing here, has now moved into the hands of the Judiciary Committee, and the Judiciary Committee will hear from 4 constitutional law professors, 3 requested by Democrats and 1 by Republicans. In his opening statement, Jerry Nadler, the Republican, talked about the facts being undisputed, and he said that President Trump welcomed interference in the 2016 election and that he demanded it in the 2020 election. Let's speak to Michael Isikoff now, who's the chief investigative correspondent at Yahoo News. He is live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for being with us. We heard the opening statements of Jerry Nadler and the opening statement of the Republican Doug Collins as well. Jerry Nadler says the facts are undisputed, that President Trump welcomed interference in the 2016 election, that he demanded it in the 2020 election. In your opinion, have the Democrats so far managed to present, to lay out what they say Donald Trump did wrong?
Well, we certainly had those 2 weeks of hearings, public hearings before the House Intelligence Committee, and of course the 300-page report that was released yesterday by the committee majority. But I thought it was interesting in Chairman Nadler's opening statement, putting this in the context of the Russia investigation, pointing out that the request to President Zelensky to investigate the Bidens in 2016 election interference wasn't the first time that President Trump had sought foreign assistance for his personal political benefit, pointing out that Nadler said, as the Mueller investigation showed, that he welcomed Russian assistance during the 2016 election. But I think the one phrase that Nadler gave that I thought is the most significant is at the very end, when he said that if the facts show that the president has committed impeachable offenses, and clearly that's the conclusion of all the Democrats on this committee, then we must move swiftly to do our duty and charge him accordingly. Move swiftly. That's the signal that this committee is on a fast track to hold this hearing, hold another one next week, and then vote articles of impeachment in the days before Christmas.
Is that a mistake, though, by the Democrats? I mean, they officially announced their impeachment inquiry into President Trump a little over 2 months ago. And now, as you say, they sound like they want this to be done and dusted. Is it a mistake to move quickly rather than continue with the investigation?
Well, there is a continuing debate on this matter within the House Democratic Caucus, and it's going to play out in this committee because you have a lot of liberals, progressives on this committee who wanted to impeach President Trump well before the Ukraine allegations ever surfaced, purely on the basis, well, not purely, but largely on the basis of the Mueller report and then other matters such as the alleged violation of the emoluments clause. So there are Democrats on this committee who will want to expand the scope of articles of impeachment to include other matters that go beyond Ukraine. You have a lot of reservations on that from Speaker Pelosi and other Democratic leaders saying that could bog the things down, that could muddy the waters, and it's going to be really fascinating to see how that plays out over the next week or two.
Also fascinating to see what the Republican strategy will be at this stage. We heard Doug Collins, as you say, pick up on the fact that Nadler put this in the context of the Mueller investigation, and Collins very critical of that. What do you see the Republican strategy being here?
Well, the key phrase that was used by Collins in his opening statement was partisan coup d'etat. That they are trying. The Republicans are going to make the argument that this is a purely partisan matter. That the House Democrats do not have any Republican buy-in to impeachment. The polls show a country still divided over this, and you're going to hear time and again, and you heard that from Collins, throwing back the words of Congressman Nadler 20 years ago during the Clinton impeachment, talking about how it was wrong, it was a mistake for the then Republican majority to push through the impeachment of Bill Clinton on purely partisan grounds when there was not a national consensus. That is perhaps the strongest Republican argument they've got, and I think we're going to be hearing a lot of it over the next couple of weeks.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us, Michael Isikoff, Chief Investigative Correspondent at Yahoo News.